Hello, YouTube gamers and RPG enthusiasts. I'm Captain Courageous, and I just want to welcome you to this introductory series on how to play Dungeons and Dragons. As a gamer with over 3 decades of experience, I find that introducing new players to the hobby to be a lot of fun, very rewarding, but also a bit challenging. In this video, I will attempt to explain what Dungeons and Dragons is and how to play it. In general, I'm assuming that the person watching is a novice player. Perhaps you've heard about the game from some friends online and are curious about what the game is and what goes on during a game session. If you are a veteran role player, maybe you've had people ask you how to play and ended up with blank stares as you tried to explain what the D20 was for. This video then is meant to be used as a resource for you to refer your friends. This video is part 1, the introduction. In this video, I'm going to answer some common questions about the game, talk about what D&D is, address some of the myths, and explore the basic concepts of a role-playing game. In part 2, we'll get into some depths on character creation and talk about creating a character for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. In part 3, I'll give some basic instruction on the rules of play. Very basic, just an overview of how to play Dungeons & Dragons. In part 4, I'll actually give you a gameplay example, which will be a lot of fun, as you'll actually get to see some characters and the roles they play in the game. Alright, is everyone ready? Let's get started. First of all, let's go with questions. A question that I am frequently asked as a long-term role player is, how do you play Dungeons & Dragons? This seems like a simple enough question, but depending on the person you are talking to, explaining the concept of the game can be a little challenging. Most people are familiar with board games like Monopoly or Clue, or even game systems and online computer games like World of Warcraft or EverQuest. However, tabletop role-playing games can be a little bit more complex an idea to grasp. Another common question people ask is, why would you want to play a tabletop game when you can play online? And that's a good question as well, and there are several good answers to it, so I'm going to address both questions at once. First, Dungeons & Dragons, or D&D, is a shared social experience. You are face-to-face with your friends, talking, seated around a table like you would with any game, and just having a good time telling a collaborative fantasy adventure story. It's analogous to sitting around a campfire and sharing tales of myths and legends. But in these stories, you, or more accurately, your character, is the hero of the story. Second, and most importantly, is the Dungeon Master, or DM. The DM is another player who is very familiar with the rules and acts in the dual role of storyteller and referee. The DM will have notes and maps and the outline of a story already prepared. But this story is only an outline. It's missing one very important element. It's missing you and your character. In D&D, the DM will describe a situation and you react to it, and based on how you react, the DM tells you what happens next. However, unlike an AI in a computer game, your choices aren't limited to those the game's programmers thought of. You have a real thinking human being in front of you that can react to whatever it is you think up. Part of the fun of being a dungeon master is when players come up with a solution to a problem you never even considered when you created the story. Sometimes there is a possibility of failure to your actions. In these cases, a die roll is required, and based on those results, the DM will tell you whether you succeed or fail. But doesn't this game have a lot of complex and difficult rules? I've seen those rule books, and they really are thick. Well, the answer to that question is yes and no. In part 1 of this introductory video, I'm not really going into great detail on game rules, because the fact of the matter is, to play Dungeons & Dragons, you don't really need to know them. That's right. It's very easy to just start playing Dungeons & Dragons, as you really don't need to know any of the rules. The only thing you really need to know is that the DM is going to describe a situation, and all you are going to do is tell the DM how you react. If a die roll is required, the DM will tell you, and then tell you what die to roll and what happens based on that roll. It's really that easy. For example, you might find yourself facing a band of goblins ready to attack you. Do you run away? You might, if you're a wily thief and you don't like combat, but perhaps your character is a fighter, skilled with the use of a sword. So instead of running away, she draws her weapon and attacks. The point is, you decide what happens. You get to make those choices, and the dungeon master can react immediately to tell you what happens, and the story changes based on what it is you do. So what do I need to play, you might ask? Well, a lot of players have rulebooks, dice, their character sheet, and a pencil, but really the most important thing you bring to the table is your imagination. Since you don't really need to know the rules to play, you don't need the rulebook. However, dice, your character sheet, some note paper, a pen, and a sharp pencil will be quite handy. During play, the DM will describe various places and take on the role of a variety of characters you meet in the course of your adventures. Many of them will give you important information that you'll need to remember in order to complete the adventure successfully. Good players take notes about these things. What is a character? Your character is your in-game persona, the role you take in the imaginary game world, just like a character in a book or a movie, but rather than being passive like you are when you are reading a book or watching a movie, through your character, you can change the story through your actions. While your character will have in-game statistics to gauge certain aspects like how strong she is, how smart, and so on, that is only the game mechanics. Dungeons & Dragons is a fantasy adventure game. This is a world where magic really works, and the technology is that of about medieval Europe. There are fantastic creatures like dragons, unicorns, medusae, goblins, orcs, and so on. If you've seen the Lord of the Rings movies, then you have a pretty good idea of what kind of world D&D adventures take place. You, the player, have a variety of choices when it comes to the role you will take in the game, and I'll talk about that in part 2 of this series, Character Creation. Well, I hope you found this video helpful, and it has piqued your interest to watch the other parts of the series. Please leave comments below, and subscribe for more videos like this one. Until next time, my friends, may your D20 roll true, and game on.